Welcome D&D and Warhammer friends to a new Baldurs Gate 3 character build and class showcase. This episode is a follow-up episode to my original Gunslinger class showcase, and specifically we will be creating the subclass of the Gunbreaker, going through all 12 levels similar to the original Gunslinger, but this is going to be a very different playstyle compared to the long-range sniping Gunslinger. Specifically, we are going to create an Infernal Ironsworn using the Duergar and getting as close as possible to what the Dawizar represent. Now, for a quick lore reference, the Dawizar are Chaos Dwarves from Total War Warhammer, and they're essentially basically the evil cousins of dwarves, but also justified evil, if that makes sense. I won't ramble on too much about the lore of the Chaos Dwarves, as I'll save it for the end, so let's go into the first level of the build and the features you get. With the subrace of the Duergar, you gain superior dark vision up to 24 meters, Duergar magic, enlarge and reduce spell on ourselves, and beginning at 5th level, we can cast invisibility on ourselves with this trait, without requiring any components or material for other spells. Psionic Fortitude, advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the charmed or stun condition on yourself. Very useful both early and also late game. With the subclass of the Gunbreaker, we do gain the fighter action of Second Wind, 1 to 10 healing, and also a specific action of Flame Strike, which deals 1d4 fire damage alongside our weapon damage. Enemies struck by this take bonus flame damage from overheat. Fighting style is also given to us, and specifically with this build, I'm going to go with defense, increasing our armor class by 1 while wearing armor, and also to fit the roleplay of being an Infernal Ironsworn, aka one of the honor guards of the Chaos Dwarves. I'm going to pick up Soldier, which gives us skills in athletics and intimidation. With the ability output, we're going to put all of our points, well, most of our points, into strength, a few into dex to raise it up. It is at 13 just because we're role-playing as well, due to the fact that the Chaos Dwarves are not really the most dexterous or the most fast race per se, so we're going to increase it by 1, but then there's just a leftover from the rest of the skill point dump. Constitution, though, is going to be a very high 16. Intelligence and wisdom we're going to be leaving alone, with the rest of our skill proficiencies being religion, art, and arcana. So both of these very roleplay-esque in terms of worshipping Hashut. At level 2, we gain some actions and a cantrip. With a fighter action of Action Surge, gain an extra action to use in combat. Nut Shot, fire a net that entangles an enemy for 2 turns. If successful, it cannot be used again for the same enemy for 4 turns. Fang Strike, first strike in the Gunbreaker combo chain. So this is not supposed to be your most devastating attack per se, but more so of a startup attack. And also there is a little bit of a limitation with Nut Shot, as we can't be able to use it on the same enemy. With the cantrip, these boots increase our movement speed until long rest by 18 meters as a bonus action. At level 3, we do gain Inspiring Palaver. You inspire with your words, giving yourself and your companions advantage for the next 2 turns. Improve critical hit. Number we need to roll a crit hit while attacking is reduced by 1. And also we gain Leaping Strike. Very good distance closer here. Leap up to 9 meters to a target location if you target an enemy if you target an enemy unit, you will also do damage and knock the target prone. For the race specific cantrip we get here is Enlarge. At level 4, we gain Reload Trick, reducing our reload times. Grapple Shot, 1 to 4 lightning damage. Fire an electrified tether that pulls an enemy within 9 meters of our position and compels the enemy to attack you for 2 turns. So this is a good way of getting the enemies to focus fire on you while you tank all of their incoming damage. Gunbreaker Protection, class actions. Claw Strike, weapon damage, 1d6 fire damage. Second Strike in the Gunbreaker combo chain. And Flame Shot, weapon damage of fire, 1d4. Enemies struck with this attack take bonus damage from overheating. And also, for the feat, I would personally pick up Strength, with the ability improvement and putting 2 points into there. At level 5, we gain the extra attack feature, more Gunbreaker counter shots, Scattergun Blast, which is essentially a close range attack cone that can hit and possibly daze multiple targets for one turn. Speaking of fighting your targets, I would personally pick up Colossus Slayer. Once per turn, your weapon attack deals an extra 1d8 damage if the target is below its hit point maximum. This is really good for high health level enemies and also boss killer enemies too, being able to whittle away their health faster. And for the race specific cantrip we get as a Duergar, we gain invisibility. Basically what it sounds like, good for stealth purposes, although with this build we're not going to be stealthing too much. You can justify invisibility as having or giving yourself a little bit of Vanguard deployment in Warhammer turns. Now, also, at level 6, we do gain some pretty interesting grenade choices here too. Grease Grenade, fire a canister of grease that spreads in a 4-meter radius on impact, and it is a permanent stain on the surface too, difficult terrain, movement speed is half, and creatures may fall prone, plus it is flammable and pairs well with the flame grenade too. Fire a flame grenade that causes fire damage in a 4-meter radius on impact, and it's a 1d4 fire damage, but it is area of effect too. Talon Strike is our melee attack here, weapon damage of 1d8 fire, final strike in the Gunbreaker combo chain, regenerate your maximum available Ka, which is essentially kind of like sorcery points or key points upon successful completion. Bear in mind too that the Gunbreaker combos are also melee focused too, so you'll be able to still shoot from range but then use your lance-like attack to dish out the remaining damage. At level 7, we gain the action of Aura of the Gunslinger. Radiate an aura that inspires your companions. Enemies have disadvantage on opportunity attacks against you and your companions, and the number you need to roll a critical hit is reduced, stacking with some of our other reduced critical hit requirements too. Remarkable Athlete Jump. Master of your own body. Athletic prowess extends beyond the usual. Jump distance is increased by 3 meters. We also gain the Dragon Fire ability here too. 2d8 fire damage. Cone of Flame erupts from your blade, doing fire damage and burning all in the area of effect, with an extra 1 to 4 burning damage if the target is actually burned. And we also gain Attack of Opportunity as a Gunslinger too. At level 8, we do gain another action of Gunbreaker Rescue. Rallies the targeted ally, grants temporary hit points, and encloses them in a protective sphere for 2 turns. Very useful and strong support spell. Good for pairing up with some of your other melee focus characters too, like Lae'zel and also Karlach. As for the feat here, I would personally choose this modified feat, which is Slasher. Learn where to cut and have the greatest result. Increase your strength by 1 to a max of 20 once per turn when you hit a creature with a melee attack that deals slashing damage, which is what your Gunblade is going to be. You reduce the speed of the target by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. Also, when you score a critical hit with a melee attack that deals slashing damage to a creature, the target has disadvantage on all attack rolls, so lots of good debuffs done to the enemy there. Plus also, it gives us a good excuse to even out our strength to 20, overall giving us a very strong +5 to it, which is very much right up a Chaos Dwarf's alley. Level 9, we do gain a subclass feature of Indomitable. Become as durable as an Iron Golem. Whenever you fail a saving throw, you can roll again using the new result instead. And at level 10, we gain the action of Piercing Shot. 2d8 weapon damage, bullet fires forward in a 9-meter long line. Each creature in that line must make a dex saving throw or take weapon damage, plus the extra 2d8 piercing damage. So, a little bit situational, but also if you're able to actually line your targets up, it's incredibly very powerful there. And also, in terms of fighting style, it would be good to pick up Protection, honestly. When you have a shield, impose disadvantage on an attack against your allies who when you are within 1.5 meters, must be able to see the attacker. At level 11, improved extra attack. make 2 additional attacks after attacking with each main hand weapon, so pretty much leaning more into the fighter-esque aspect of this subclass. And at level 12, we get Frag Grenade, 12 to 21 force damage, fire a fragmentation grenade that causes explosive damage in a 4-meter radius on impact. And as for the final feat here, picking up Idle Hands would be a very solid choice here, as it allows us to gain a bonus action, plus also allowing us to add 1 point to the ability of our choice. In this point, Dex, giving us 14 overall, a respectable +2, but also you could potentially pick up Savage Attacker for the extra high damage output, or damage potential I should say. It basically means if we roll a low number, we can re-roll again and pick the highest one. But also, I love action economy and being able to have an extra bonus action for some of our skills, or specifically switching 2 bonus actions into a regular action for yet even more extra attacks. That's always all good around in combat. Now, when it comes to the specific equipment and gear, I did choose some that were very fire-esque or heavily armored base, as that's the whole theme of the Chaos Dwarves, using heavy armor and fire, magic, and aesthetics to embolden them in combat. So starting with the headpiece, we're going to be using the Helldusk helmet. Infernal side, you can see in magical and ordinary darkness up to a range of 12 meters, cannot be blinded. Magical durability, wielder has a +2 bonus to saving throws against all spells, pretty much similar to advanced or high-ranking Chaos Dwarf units, and attackers can't land critical hits against us, so adding to our tanking potential. We also gain the Immolating Gaze spell, 2 to 16 fire damage, sear and frighten a target with nothing but your glower. Cape here is also going to be important with the Cindermaw cloak. Flaming Shroud, creature that damages the wearer within 2 meters receives the burning status effect, allowing us to dish back a little bit of damage to our opponent, 1d4 fire damage. Astral Plate armor is going to be our main piece here, and yes, it's not exactly Chaos Dwarf-esque, but also it's pretty high up there, and I do like the aesthetic on a female Dwargar. You gain this resistance and Blade Ward, Grievous Retribution. When an enemy damages the wearer gains Wrath for 2 turns, allowing us to have a +1 bonus to damage with melee weapons for every turn this condition has remaining. Psionic Revenge, when you succeed a saving throw against a foe that caused the throw, it takes 1 to 4 psychic damage, so basically our little retribution against casters. For the gloves, I'm picking up Helldusk gloves. +1 bonus to spell attack rolls and spell save DC, and our weapon attacks deal additional 1 to 6 fire damage, just racking up more types of damage output for ourselves. And we gain the Ray of Fire cantrip, 9 to 54 potential fire damage there, 3 rays of fire overall. Linebreaker boots, once per turn, when you dash you gain Wrath for 2 turns, again adding to our melee attack there. Amulet of the Unworthy, we do get a bit of a trade-off here too. Resistance to slashing damage, but also it makes us very vulnerable to bludgeoning damage with maces, hammers, and the like. And it does kind of make sense too with Astral Plate armor being more of something that would definitely stop blades in their tracks, but also be a little bit more vulnerable to those heavy hitters. Ring of Fire, when dealing fire damage, wearer deals an additional 1 fire damage, pairing up with some of our fire-based equipment. And also I like personally having Ring of Regeneration. Beginning of our turn, Ring activates and heals us 1 to 4 hit points. Shield, I would personally pick up Shield of Devotion, additional spell slot for ourselves, and we gain the ability of Shield Bash. When a foe hits you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to knock it prone unless they succeed a Dex saving throw. Shield of Devotion, aid, 10 healing, heal yourself and increase our hit point maximum by 10 points. This would be pretty good at the start of combat too, or at the start of combat when you're already low on health. Also, here is the main kicker here, the Gunblade of Eld. This is the legendary version of your starting Gunblade. We also gain different things here when it comes to the Gunblade of Eld. Weapon enchantment +3. Main hand only, honed edge, increase the chance of a critical hit. Hellfire, whenever you inflict burning, +1 turn of overheat. Engulfed by vengeful fire, take 1 to 4 fire damage each turn but gain heat convergence, which in and of itself is consuming our heat to fuel a powerful attack, dealing out some fire damage there. Hot lead, whenever you deal fire damage, gain 2 turns of overheating, so it's a little bit of a risk and reward in terms of damaging ourselves, but then also being able to dish out that same kind of damage back on the enemy too. Alright friends, that has been my character build and showcase of the Gunbreaker build, which is specifically the subclass of the original Gunslinger subclass mod. If you want to see a video on that, I will leave it in the pinned comment below alongside with the actual mod description and mod page itself. And also please let me know in the comments if you agree with my level up choices in terms of sticking to the lore and what a Chaos Dwarf should represent. Like I was saying before too, Chaos Dwarves are a combination of infernal magic and industrial technology that dwarves from the Warhammer fantasy universe are known for. And if you have a different way of building your own personal Chaos Dwarf, or in terms of a completely different Gunbreaker, please let me know what you would create in the comments below too. I always love hearing about D&D players' different kinds of character builds, just to draw some inspiration for my next character builds and next upcoming videos too. And also, if you have any specific build requests, please let me know in the comments below, and I will do my best to try to create it with my upcoming videos as well. I'm also a massive fan of different class mods, and most recently too, race mods. Yes, there are mods in the Baldurs Gate Nexus that allows us to play as different races from the actual D&D universe that aren't available in the base game as well. Please do let me know if there are any specific ones you want me to showcase or to check out, or to specifically build characters around. I've noticed too that I've been making a lot of modded builds on this channel, which honestly, it's some of my personal favorite things to do, is just really see how far we can push our creativity and the game itself. But I'll end off on that good note, my friends. Enjoy the rest of this combat showcase, and until then, I'll save you all a seat at the table for the next adventure. Take care and farewell.
Easy these days.